This is KVUE News Daybreak.
President Trump orders a military strike against Syria. I'm ABC's Lana Zach in Washington with the very latest details coming up.
Being 131 eyes in 16 days.
Took 16 hours, but the Texas House approved the state budget overnight. We'll break down the debate from last night coming up.
And a live look at ABIA this morning. Another terminal is opening up this weekend. How this could impact you the next time you have to fly out.
And it's been cool and comfortable, but we're tracking kind of a warm weekend headed our way. Also some rain. I'll chat about that later on this morning.
Assad choked out the lives of helpless men, women, and children. Even beautiful babies were cruelly murdered. Tonight I ordered a targeted military strike on the airfield in Syria.
Last night, President Trump ordered an attack on Syria. A destroyer in the Mediterranean Sea fired nearly 60 missiles at an airfield.
Intelligence officials say it's from that airfield that planes took off that dumped toxic sarin gas on civilians. Dozens were killed, including young children. The Syrian government being blamed for attacking its own citizens. ABC's Lana Zach is in Washington with the very latest on the strike and congressional reaction.
From two American destroyers in the Mediterranean, the U.S. launched 59 Tomahawk cruise missiles at Syria.
Tonight I ordered a targeted military strike on the airfield in Syria from where the chemical attack was launched.
The president at his Mar-a-Lago resort urged the international community to denounce Syrian President Bashar al-Assad for his suspected use of sarin gas against his own people.
Even beautiful babies were cruelly murdered in this very barbaric attack. No child of God should ever suffer such horror.
More than 80 were killed, mostly women and children, in brutal, horrific deaths. But Russia is decrying U.S.'s action. A spokesman for Russian President Vladimir Putin said he regards the strikes as aggression against a sovereign nation in violation of international law. U.S. lawmakers are responding as well. Many are praising the president's actions, but others say Congress should have been consulted. Republican Senator Rand Paul tweeted, "While we all condemn the atrocities in Syria, the United States was not attacked." And Democratic Senator Tim Kaine called the president's failure to consult Congress unlawful. For the new president, it's a reversal of his previous positions, but it's also a message to the international community.
The larger statement, again, is that Assad needs to stop the chemical attacks against his people.
And the big question now is what comes next. This was believed to be a one-time surgical action, more symbolic than actually crippling to Assad. Any further involvement is likely to require congressional approval, as well as consultations with other countries. Particularly important will be Russia and China. Lana Zach, ABC News, Washington.
Officials have confirmed this morning sarin gas was used in the attack in Syria earlier this week. That's according to Turkey's health ministry, which performed autopsies on victims. Sarin gas is a banned nerve agent and considered a weapon of mass destruction.
Well, U.S. Senator Ted Cruz responding to the missile strikes in Syria. He released a statement last night saying in part, quote, "Any military action in Syria must be justified as protecting the vital national security interests of America. I look forward to our commander-in-chief making the case to Congress and to the American people how we should do so in the days ahead."
The latest chemical attack in Syria, far from the first. Here's a look at what exactly led up to the United States' decision to launch those attacks against Syria and their leader, Bashar al-Assad.
Back in April of 2011, the United States put sanctions on Syria's intelligence agency in response to the regime's crackdown on protesters during the democratic uprisings. Then in August of 2011, former President Barack Obama, along with other foreign leaders, called for Assad to step down. 1 year later, Mr. Obama told Assad the use of chemical weapons is unacceptable and there will be consequences if they're used. And then in 2013, Obama said he has authorized the use of force against Syria. U.S. intelligence officials said Assad used chemical weapons that killed dozens of people in northern Syria and hundreds more near Damascus.
In 2014, the United States launched its first airstrikes against ISIS forces in Syria. And in April of 2015, President Obama authorized the deployment of U.S. military advisors into Syria to combat ISIS. February of this year, Russia and China vetoed a UN Security Council resolution authorizing sanctions against Syria for chemical weapons use. And this week, of course, that attack on the rebel-held city in northern Syria, which killed at least 86 people, 27 of them children.
Well, the decision to launch airstrikes against the regime of Syrian leader Bashar Assad represents a 180-degree change for President Trump. Fewer than 4 years ago, Trump was strongly opposed to intervention in Syria over Assad's use of chemical weapons. And in a tweet from 2013, Trump said, quote, "If Obama attacks Syria and innocent civilians are hurt and killed, he and the U.S. will look very bad." He also tweeted, "The president must get congressional approval before attacking Syria. Big mistake if he does not." After the chemical attack that killed dozens of people, well, Mr. Trump has had a change of heart.
That attack on children yesterday had a big impact on me. My attitude toward Syria and Assad has changed very much. These heinous actions by the Assad regime cannot be tolerated.
Coming up at 6 a.m., Associate Professor of Government Roy Casagrande with Austin Community College will be joining us to talk about the situation in Syria. He'll provide his expertise on what happened overnight.
And overnight, after 16 hours of debate, the Texas lawmakers have passed a budget. The Senate approved a budget 2 days ago and handed it to the House. And before 2 a.m., after going through 400 amendments, the House signed off on the $218 billion document. KVUE's Corey Coffin joins us live from the Capitol this morning to break it all down for us. And Corey, what's in and what's out?
Well, one of the big things that got cut from the budget, Lieutenant Governor Dan Patrick's push for school choice in education. House members essentially killed Senate Bill 3 when they passed an amendment preventing state money going to a voucher system. Child welfare advocates, meanwhile, saw a win with more funding to foster care and child protective services. About $43 million will be allocated for CPS, but they'll have to share that with Medicaid therapy services. And something very interesting that happened during the final moments of debate. A deal was struck. Representative Valerie Swanson presented an amendment similar to the Senate's bathroom bill that would prohibit transgender Texans from using the restroom of their choice in certain circumstances. Well, she agreed to remove that amendment in exchange for a vote to remove state funding from groups that provide abortions like Planned Parenthood. Well, that vote passed 101 to 43, so that amendment did pass. This session, several amendments were also presented to allocate more state funding to fight sex crimes.
We've been at this for about 15 hours, going on 16. And I want you to know that about 21 women have been raped in these last 16 hours. In this state, every 46 minutes, a woman, a young woman, gets raped.
Now, amendments included funding for programs that require statewide reporting of sex crimes at universities, as well as more resources allocated to DPS. The House also approved an amendment to use $2.5 billion from the state's rainy day fund to help, since lawmakers have less to work with this year. Just 2 days ago, the Senate passed their version of the budget, hoping to use $106.8 billion of the state's revenue, but not any from the rainy day fund. Now, debate could have lasted into the more even so into the morning hours had several amendments not been cut off and instead added to the wish list. The budget now goes to a conference committee where members of both the House and the Senate will negotiate to find a final version. Live at the Capitol, Corey Coffin for KVUE News.
Corey, thank you so much. And right now, police across the state need your help finding 2 abducted infants who are believed to be in grave danger. Take a look here at your screen. These 2 kids were last seen yesterday near Lake Jackson. On the left, Dominic Smith, who is just over 1 year old, and on your right, 6-month-old Daniel Smith. 30 to 45 pounds, that's how much they weigh. Both have brown hair and blue eyes. And police say this man and woman kidnapped the 2 boys. Ryan Smith is 23 years old. weighs about 120 pounds. And to your right, 20-year-old Ashley Smith weighs around 150 pounds. They're both described as white and 5'6" tall. They were last seen driving a 1997 red Jeep Cherokee similar to this one. The license plate number right here on your screen. If you have any information, you're encouraged to call police.
All right, time to take a look at your forecast. Waking up this morning, another cool but comfortable morning. Temperatures in the 50s. Expect low humidity today. So today's going to be the last day that you get to enjoy dew points in the 40s, dew points in the upper 30s. It's going to be cool and comfortable, but that will allow our daytime high temperatures to make it into the 80s this afternoon. We are calling it a mostly sunny afternoon. May have some partly cloudy skies this morning, but expect plenty of sunshine nonetheless. So here we are, hour by hour, lunchtime in the mid 70s, but close to 80 degrees. I think we are going to make it at 80 degrees, calling it about 81 for the daytime high here in the Austin metro area. Plenty of sunshine, so UV index will be in the high category, pollen in the high category also. Low humidity is keeping mold in the low category. So I am tracking a change in our forecast, though increased humidity and some rain shower activity. I'll let you know when that arrives in the full forecast. Guys, back to you.
Erica, thank you. Happening in just a few hours from now, the Austin VA Outpatient Clinic will honor the oldest known veteran in the nation. The clinic will name its healing garden after 110-year-old Richard Overton. He served in the Army from 1942 to 1945 during World War II in the Pacific Theater. His name will also live on in Austin streets. Austin City Council honorarily renaming Hamilton Avenue in East Austin Richard Overton Avenue. Overton's lived in the same home in that area since 1945. There will be a ceremony next month to celebrate his 111th birthday.
Well, changes coming to ABIA.
We're going to take a look at the new terminal opening up this weekend and how it resembles something you might have seen in the 1950s.
When I'm high, it's like a feeling like no other.
All right, talking to K2 users this morning, why they're drawn to the potential deadly synthetic drug and who city leaders are targeting.